In a world of dungeons, dragons, and devious DMs, 4 adventurers set out to save the mysterious land of Baleflow.
I'm Frank Bunty, Dwarven Paladin and all-round badass. I like nothing more than righting wrongs and smiting evil.
I'm Bonarail, a half-elf rogue that'll rob you blind and mess you up.
I'm Lord Sugar, a human wizard noble. I'm rich, I'm better than everyone, and I set fire to everything.
I'm Draco Justice, Dragonborn Monk. For when justice calls, who will answer? I will. I'm Draco Justice.
And I'm Doddy, the resident DM. I'll be throwing everything at these guys, including the kitchen sink. Ooh, a mimic kitchen sink.
Nerd OD&D from the Nod Network. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else you get podcasts.
I'm stuck on this game. I'm going to write into this television program, and then in 4 to 6 weeks, when they film an episode, they might be able to tell me how to get past level 12 on Sonic Adventure Green Hill Zone.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Nerd OD podcast with your most fantabulous host, Reginaldo.
And Dan, but I just want to add to the fantabulous host, Reginaldo, also, it's the birthday boy, Reginaldo.
It's the birthday boy.
Well, at least this is kind of the birthday episode, right? Because,
next week I'll be really old.
You will. You'll be, like, you're at that age where you are currently young, and then you'll have your birthday and then suddenly old. Yeah. That's how it works.
Sad times.
Yeah. Very sad times. Trust me. Very sad times, Reg. How old are you? 38?
Oh, Dan.
7?
I will be.
Although you will be 37.
I genuinely thought I was going to be 38 up until about 2 weeks ago.
All right.
So, there's like the slight, I still got another year.
Okay. What happened? What made you realise?
We figured out I'm 10 years younger than Ash's dad. And then he was like, well, yeah, because I'm going to be 47. I was like, oh, I thought that I was, yeah, okay. Right, yeah, that makes sense. And since I was born in 84, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Just, yeah, you know what my maths is like. You know, I failed GCSE maths 4 times. Certain amount of times. I was like,
that's because you didn't have me to tutor you like Nina Myers did.
Exactly. I think I would have been doing dead good if I had proper math skills. It was that, and when I went to reset it in in college, it was on our role boss in game. It was her fault I failed because she was like, "You don't need college, just come back to
absolutely,
just do this extra day." And I was like, at that age where I was like, I like money. Money's good because it funds my booze habit. So I did. And then I went back about 4 weeks later and they're like, you can't just decide to come back now. I was like, oh, okay. So they told me to basically leave and not come back.
How rude.
I know, right? So I did.
Rude.
I left and worked full-time in game.
Yep. And now look at you. You've made it now, Reg. You're a world-renowned podcaster.
Exactly.
And I will say we are world renowned because I'm sure that we have people not just in the UK who listen, even if there's one, in a foreign country. Well, in fact, we know Pastor Scott. If you are still listening, I know you listen occasionally. He lives in America.
So and we have people in Australia that listen to us. People in Australia that listen to us.
Yeah,
and New
that's
Zealand.
True. Or at least they used to. I hope they still do.
They do. Hi. So it's all good. We have Americans, and one of my mates. In fact,
they don't count.
I think now it's Sino because he is. He listens. He listens all the time. And ages ago, I was going to talk about it on a pod, but it was one of those pods that just like so much stuff happened that week that we had to talk about that I lost track. I never got a chance to regale the tale. Ages ago, when we were young, me and my mate Steve Blair always used to read like Gamesmaster magazine and get all hyped up and excited for like the latest releases and stuff that are coming out. Also, did you know that the Gamesmaster TV show is coming back?
What?
Right. Okay. So I thought we talked about this, but
nope.
Obviously, never.
Carry on with what you're talking about now, and then we'll.
I was going to say I'll do quickly go into this because there's not much to talk about, unfortunately, about it. It is coming back, but it's not coming back to the extent we remembered it.
Right.
So it's
going to
still
be some bad online thing.
no. It's still going to be the original crew, so to speak, that's coming out and doing it. The downside is it's all going to be based on celebrities doing challenges, so it's not going to be like how we used to do it.
Okay.
Which is a shame, because it would have been ace to have it proper old school, where you have people going up to Patrick. Is it Patrick Moore?
It was Patrick. Well, Dominic Diamond. Patrick Moore was just the floaty
was
head.
the Gamesmaster.
Yes.
So it was. It would have been ace to have like people going up to him going, "I'm really stuck on level 3 of like this. How do I get past it?" And then he'd be like, "Oh, let me check my knowledge bank," and then come back and be
well,
like,
that's almost just obsolete now, right?
Exactly.
No one's gone, I'm stuck on this game. I'm going to write into this television program, and then in 4 to 6 weeks, when they film an episode, they might be able to tell me how to get past level 12 on Sonic Adventure Green Hill Zone. It just doesn't happen now, because you just go on the YouTubes and someone's like, "Hey gamers, it's Billy Joe 89. I'm going to show you how to get past level 12," and that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
That's what you do now.
Which is a downside, because it would have been ace to have that back. But unfortunately now it's just going to be like, hey, can Joey Essex beat another Z-list celebrity in like Mortal Kombat 11? I'm like,
yeah, but a bit weird though when you've got actual gaming celebrities, like probably really cheap gaming celebrities. And I mean by that, it wouldn't cost them much to hire a bunch of Twitch streamers who would then bring their audience in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there was a show on Game Network, or whatever it's called now, Jinx, that actually had, I can't remember what it's called. It was called, I think it was just called Challenge Me or something like that.
Yeah.
And they had like Twitch streamers going up against each other and whatnot. And that was pretty all right. There was quite a few that was just horrendous, but there's quite a few that were pretty cool.
And look how cheap that channel is.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure if we asked them, we could get on there.
Yeah.
To be fair, because now they've got some show that used to be really informative, but it then changed. It was called the Daily Download, and it used to actually have just like gaming news on all the time. But that's now changed to just like, hey, what we're going to do is look at like Instagram like stories and like funny meme clips and just talk about them, and then right at the end go, oh, here's what's happened in Dota League. Like that's it. I was like, oh, right, okay. I remember this used to be a good show, but now it's not. But harkening back to the good old days. Yeah.
You had a point. Sorry.
I did have a point about this, and then I just completely went over it. But yeah, so in Gamesmaster magazine, they had this awesome competition that was going on, that you could create a game and you had to do everything. You had to like design the characters, design like what the levels might look like. Yeah. Basically craft the whole thing on paper, send it into them, and then the winner got to go to a game studio. I can't remember the exact game studio that it went to, but you'd actually have your game completely made, and it was like, oh my god! And because we were like avid fans of it, we're like, we will do this. This is going to be amazing. So we sat off for ages and tried to formulate this like awesome game idea.
Okay.
Now my artistic skills were horrendous, but Steve even now when he sent me this PDF file, like, the art's amazing for it. Like he genuinely is a really good drawer, and it's just a shame that it was my ability that probably like made us lose it. I say that there's probably people that made like Call of Duty back in the day and was like, this is my idea, this is Call of Duty, and people like, yeah, this is good, here's like a sticker and sign this. And now we've got Call of Duty, and that's how Call of Duty got made.
Exactly.
Whereas our one was just a platformer, and it was amazing, and it was called The Adventure of Andy and Eddie. And it was just a really, really fun-packed platformer that consisted of 11 levels that were apparently, according to this PDF, fun-packed and exciting.
Oh, well, winner.
So
sign them up.
This game was based on Planet Bonkers.
Okay, yep. Were you were you big like happy hardcore fans at the time?
You know
Used to
what?
listen to Bonkers compilations non-stop.
Looking at some of the character designs, I think you might actually go that way, but we really weren't, fortunately. But
Not unfortunately, very fortunately, Reg,
very
you've not gone up or down in my estimation, but you've stayed right where you are, and that's a good thing because you would have plummeted.
Fair enough. So basically, we had Andy and Eddie. So Andy and Eddie were both abducted by aliens.
Oh.
So Andy was abducted and Eddie was an experimentee in this place that was shut down. What I will do is I will share this PDF on our NerdOD page, just so you can actually see the artwork and read through all the amazingness. And if someone out there is talented enough, if they could create this game, that would be amazing. 'Cause I'm pretty sure now you could do it on, like Unreal, the free Unreal Engine, and do like a hell of a lot better than what we did. But the artwork's ace, so you've got that to go off, and you can use my very, very poor 13-year-old language to actually to create this. But I'm not going to go into full-on details. I'll just give you like a little tidbit of the character creation.
Okay.
Because I love the descriptions of our characters. So you had Andy, who had a machine gun for an arm and a blade for the other arm. He looked like a bit of an army vet. And so this is Andy. He was the helpful type that would do anything to assist. He would do nothing to hurt anyone or anything until that night he was taken from the planet known as Earth and put aboard a spacecraft where an unknown species of life started to perform a series of experiments on him, where his hands had been decapitated and replaced with guns. So notice I say replaced with guns there. And yet on the picture, he's got an assault rifle and a big, massive blade.
Maybe it shoots knives?
It might have done. So decapitated and replaced with guns. As a guard came into Andy's cell to give him his daily rations, Andy slowly, but unknowingly to the guard, rose his gun and shot the guard in the head, which blew up and landed on the floor with a splat. Andy looked down and saw his feet had a green puddle of slime. Then, Andy ran out of his cell towards the light that was coming from an unguarded window. But as he was running, he saw another cell with someone inside. So it shot the lock he was holding with the door tightly closed and gave it a mighty kick in the cell. There was another human being in there that had been kidnapped for experimentation. His name was Eddie. And then you've got Eddie, who just looks like what I imagine I would look like when we go back to work in the office. He's got a really tattered suit on, bloodshot eyes, veins, really like needs a good shave, and a really like nasty looking 80s tie. So yeah, pretty much what I'm going to look like when we go back to the back to the office full time in April.
Okay.
So Andy's little brief chat. Eddie's one, sorry. This is Eddie. All he ever did and cared about was work. Then one night, as he was working, in brackets, as usual, someone or something came up behind him and grabbed him by his mouth, dragged him to the alien spacecraft, and as the door of the spacecraft shut, Eddie shouted, "But what about my documents? They need to be in tomorrow." With that, the door shut. The next thing Eddie knew, he was chucked in his cell, his miserable, dark, damp cell. He stayed so long with no sound, except the drops of water, food, or drink. He went crazy and ended up permanently deranged. When poor Eddie was talking to himself again, the shot of a gun disturbed him from his little chat. Then, before he could blink, the door was kicked open, and there stood in the doorway a tall but skinny figure. It shouted, "Come on, we're busting out here." Eddie followed the figure towards the window, and on the way, grabbed some weapons. So that's the intro.
Okay.
Like, how ace does that sound?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like a great kids platformer, Reg.
It does. And then we've got this. So this was at the time when I think I can't remember when 3D sort of illustration packages first came out. You
Okay.
could, like, tinker with them. So we tried to create the actual world map, which for flat earthers would be very good because Planet Bonkers is very flat from the look of this. And the levels consist of we've got an incredibly clean pond. So that was one level. So you better watch out for all the sharks and piranhas that lurk about the pond. If you get to the end, you get rewarded with a can of fuel. So I think this is so you can get the plane and fly out. You've got level 3, which was the stapler. Can you defeat the dreaded stationary and dodge the flying staples? Eventually get to the other end and work out the puzzle to get to the mailbox. Ooh. And you had the magic mailbox, which was a level full of postmen from hell and letters with attitude. And when you get to the end, you have to collect the letter for the wise worm, flick the boots, and hit them to glide mode and get back to the apple. So, you know, it's got all sorts in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it though. To be fair, like when he sent me this PDF, I was like, this was. I remember spending weeks trying to craft like the perfect level and everything.
What do you think was their reaction when this competition, when whoever was running it received it?
I think I reckon they were blown away by the artwork.
This is too good for this world.
Because you had to be under the age of 15 in order to do it. So I don't think they expected anything to be like, you know, the next fucking Sonic or like Mario. So
no,
I think they would have been really impressed with the artwork, but looked at the description for it and gone like, yeah, so it says artwork by Steve Blair with the signature on every page, but the writing from that Lacey lad, yeah, we can't do anything with that. So,
and you were blacklisted ever since.
And I think I've been blacklisted from the games industry ever since.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So, it's such a shame because, again, I will post a PDF because the artwork is ace, and I think everyone needs to see it. So I'll do that when we end it. But yeah, that was a nice little blast from the past. To be fair, and it's nice when something randomly like that comes out in the blue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when Oliver's old enough and, you know, he's 11 and creating his own bloody Minecraft levels and all this sort of stuff and does like a far superior job than we can do, I could be like, look what I did when I was a kid. And you'd be like, Dad, that's embarrassing. Like that you know, there's no grammar corrections going on whatsoever in your writing. Like, I'm really sorry, Oliver. I'll do better next time.
I wish I still had some of the games me and my friends designed. We just used to just draw out levels. That was all it was. You know, it'd be like, oh, and you go down here and there'll be some spikes and you jump over them around that. And it was that sort of stuff. That was fun. And me and another friend, when I was in primary school, we made a comic book character. He was called Indiana Fluffball. And it was just the easiest thing to draw. I drew it all. It's so easy because it was just like a big, like sort of a messy circle. He was just scribbled in circles with eyes.
You're very good at
and
doing
a hat.
Circular mascots.
Circular mascot. Oh, Wombat Fuzzle, you mean?
Because good old Wombat Fuzzle.
Yeah, but I didn't draw him. Imagine if you had to draw a Wombat Fuzzle. It would be like that, but then with an Indiana Jones hat and eyes and a sort of a utility belt. And I can't remember the bad guy's name, but he was like a robot cat. I don't think it was RoboCat, but that would sound like a really obvious choice.
Meownick.
But don't know. But yeah, anyway, we used to like do a school newspaper / magazine type thing, and there would always be an Indiana Fluffball comic strip in there.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, fun times. And I don't think I've got any of them.
And so I wish that you could, like, because I got recently added to a Whitby High like memories page, you know, where everyone just starts like trying to set up all the usual reunions and stuff, but discuss like all teachers and memories and stuff that come from it. And like it would have been ace if you got one of them and then someone just found like your old letters there and could be like, oh look, there's a comic strip.
Yeah,
I love that because you randomly, your dad's like, oh, by the way, Dad, here's this video of you doing this, and like here's that, and like awesome. So it'd be ace if you randomly your dad just had one of those, because that does sound ace.
Yeah, well, he does keep sort of finding different things. Like he completely unprompted, even though we talked about it on the pod a few weeks ago, and he said he didn't hear us talk about it, but he found my appearance, a video recording of my appearance on BBC TV over the phone on one of those, on that computer game show Reactive, where I had to play Daytona USA to win a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You sent it to me, and
it did. It's quite funny. I'll put it on Instagram at some point.
it was quite obvious when you said it, but I was just like, "You sound nothing like you." And you're like, "Yeah, my balls haven't dropped yet." And I was like, "Right."
That's not quite how I described it, but yes, the gist of it.
Yeah, I think you said my voice hadn't broke yet, but that I said it in layman's terms. But yeah, always fun times, mate. I wish I could find loads of my old stuff. But alas, all we've got now is future-proofing our society.
Very true, very true. So, what do we need to talk about in terms of Disney Plus this week, Reg?
Apart from WandaVision, no, right?
No, do you know, I think WandaVision can wait until next week because it's the finale.
It is.
I think we'll just have a lot.
I annoyed Ash on Friday.
Okay.
Because it hit that time, like Oliver went to bed and the first thing she was about to chill out and was like, yeah, WandaVision. She was like, originally after about 6 episodes, she was like, right, what we need to do is just not watch it and then just binge watch it all when it's done. And I was like, no. It's very rare that I say no to the wife. But I was like,
it
no.
Works so well as a weekly.
Like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like one of the shows that, like, obviously we talk about on this, but like in work and stuff, like I talk about it loads, and it's nice to build up that, what do you reckon's going to happen next week, and and talk about it all. And it's one of the shows that is you can't even get through the first day, like half of the first day, without spoilers just popping up everywhere. Yeah. So it's one of those that you like avoid everything as soon as you finish work, just like, right, okay, can we put it on now and watch it?
100%, yeah.
So so now we've only got one more left because she begrudgingly watched it, despite the fact she's like, we could just watch the last 2. It's like, nope, like this is happening. So on Friday we can literally
She was going to just watch the last couple of episodes.
Yeah. So what she wanted to do was like she was up to 6 and then be like, right, okay, let's stop now. Let them all build up. Right.
Okay. She has
binge it.
Okay. I see.
And I was like, no, we're not doing that.
No. I mean, it's the only thing that I find frustrating is that the episodes are so relatively short, but they're kind of, I guess it's sitcom timings, isn't it? It's like, 25, 30 minutes and then 12 minutes of credits. Yeah,
that's just Disney Plus just irritates me.
Disney Plus is irritating for several reasons. We just this is evening out all the love that we've shown Disney Plus over the last few weeks when we just keep talking about it. So now we're going to complain about it. It's annoying in 2 things. One, you can't skip intros or like previously on episodes. And 2, the credits on any official Disney Plus shows go on for like an hour, like about 20% of the actual runtime of the show, because it shows the credits and then it goes, here's every single country and language version that we've done. Here's the credits for those versions as well. And if you stop it when the credits start playing, when you next go to watch the show, it thinks you've still got episode to watch, because it's like, look at all the time left on this episode. You haven't watched 7 minutes of this episode. So you have to fast forward to the end on each one.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. Very frustrating.
I completely and 100% agree. It is infuriating as well, because you're like, we still got loads of time left, but then the next thing you know, the credits roll and still got like 14 minutes left. I'm like, no. But we've been watching obviously WandaVision, and we've run out of other shows to watch. So like, what do we watch? So we went on Netflix and we started watching Superstore. Don't know if you see it.
No, it's in our list ready to give a go.
You know what? It's funny. It's very, very funny. Like I can't remember, it's got like 5 seasons and just been renewed for a 6th or something.
Yes.
Insane. but we're having a really fun time watching that. So that's quite entertaining. But then we wanted something that wasn't just a sitcom, to sit off and just watch 20 minutes.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That's what we do. We have generally two things on the go, and one is a sitcom. So you've just got to like, right, on lunch break, let's watch something, and then you've got stuff you watch in the evening. So yeah.
So then we start watching, because I seen it ages ago and I just completely forgot all about it. But we started watching that Locke Key, which is based on a graphic novel series, which is for Dark Horse Comics, I think it is.
Yeah, by Joe Hill. So not that he advertises it, but the son of Stephen King.
Ah, right, okay. Sort of makes sense now with like how trippy and weird the show gets.
Fair enough.
But it's really good. So for those that haven't necessarily heard of it or seen it all, it's basically about some family that has a traumatic event happen. In other words, the dad gets killed within the first like 2 minutes of the show.
Yeah, so not really spoiler.
So they move from their house where they are to a family home, like a family old estate in the middle of nowhere in some little like hick country town. And this house has these magical keys in there, but only the kids can hear it. So like the adults, even though one of the adults, like the dad's brother, looks after the estate, he has no memories at all about his childhood or his time in this house or anything along that. He just apparently can't remember anything, and he doesn't know why. He just genuinely can't remember. So that was a bit weird. And as they start going through, they keep finding random keys. And the first key the kid finds, the little kid finds, is a key called the Anywhere key. And he can open up a door. And he goes like, ice cream parlor. And he opens up this locked door. And then when he opens it, the ice cream parlor is through that door instead of the cupboard. He's like, weird. And then he finds another key and another key and another key. And I won't go into what all the keys do because I wholeheartedly recommend watching it. But one of the random keys now, which is really cool, is called the head key. And you put it in the back of your head. And it allows you and whoever's in the room with you to basically go into your head. You go through like a door, and like the little kid, for example, like he's in an arcade. So you've got loads of arcades in there and like, little gacha machines and all that sort of stuff. And then he's got all the memories in like little capsules. So he can look after, like memories of his dad and stuff, reading in books, like all that sort of stuff. He's got little memories that everyone can look at and stuff. But there's a evil woman who lives at the bottom of a well who wants all these keys. And the whole thing is them trying to make sure she doesn't get hold of the keys. And it's done really, really well. And it's I'll say, me and the wife were saying, it's one of those really weird shows where if it wasn't for a couple of elements in every single episode, you'd wholeheartedly think this is definitely a kid's show, like a family show, like the Goonies, all that sort of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But the mum had a bit of an alcohol problem, and then they put that into like the adults, to be like, oh, she's hiding like gin bottles in the back of the cupboards and stuff like that. So the kids wouldn't sort of necessarily get that. Obviously, there's the murder of the dad, so there's like those couple of things that in there. So like, hey, it is an adult show, but by the by, like, yeah, if you've got kids that are like 13, 14, whatever, I definitely think you'd probably be able to watch it with the kids, because it's a really, really fun one, and I wholeheartedly recommend you and Shell get onto it. I think it's a really good show, and it's just been, apparently season 2 was supposed to come out last year, but due to COVID has been pushed back. But it's just been renewed for season 3. So we're going to get 3 seasons from this so far,
which is very unusual for Netflix, because the amount of shows that they just seem to just cut the cord on before their time.
Yeah.
It's hard and frustrating. No more OA.
No, I wish I could get into that.
Yeah,
because I know it's supposed to be really good, but
it's the sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that one day you will have absolutely nothing else to watch. Just sit down and watch it like all in one go.
And so
you'll just binge a series.
We got up to episode 3, I think it was, of it, and then we were like, yeah, at some point, hopefully I'll get going and it'll be all right. And then we just stopped. It was the same with Ozark. start watching Ozark, which everyone's like, this is the greatest show since Sopranos. This is so good. I'm like, all right, we're up to like episode 8 of it.
Yeah.
And then we just stopped watching it. It was just
fair enough.
It didn't get great.
I've not seen anything about that show, to be quite honest. I've not.
It's like won loads of awards, and everyone, I know, when you put like, everyone was talking about Ozark, and like, me and the wife tried watching it, and then you get the whole thing of, no, you don't understand, just literally watch one more episode, and it will, you'll get it. It's like it's like Breaking Bad syndrome, where
right.
You say, you know what, we watched season 1, yeah, but season 2 gets going, it's amazing. But we watched the first 3 episodes of season 2, yeah, but carry on watching it. Like, I don't want to get up all the way up to the last season before we're like, is this any good? Because so far it's pretty pants.
And have a pretty poor ending.
Yeah.
Wasn't terrible. I've seen an awful lot worse. But yeah,
I think that's the thing now. I know how it ends as well, so I've got no ability to actually be like, no, let's plow through to see X happen.
All right, okay.
So, it's a bit of a shame. But what we have started doing, because now we've watched that, and both me and the wife really liked Locke Key. I was like, what else has she not watched on that she said she really wanted to watch? So we started watching Stranger Things last night. Because I thought I'd only seen up to season 2, but when we went to start watching it, it was like, hey, continue watching season 3, episode 6, and I was like, oh, don't remember getting that far in it. So we started watching that because she wanted to watch it back in the day, and you know what, it's a little bit better than what I remembered it being. Like, I remember it being really slow and boring and just hating the kids in it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like, Stranger Things is the best thing I've ever seen. But it was a bit better than what I remembered it being. Like, I don't know if it's just because the kids, I've seen it, so I know how annoying the kids were, or I'm not expecting it to be, because before I started watching it, it was Sean that was like, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, you definitely sort of, you put up a bit of a blockade for things that people are telling you will love, if everyone's going on about something, it's like it's ruined it. It's done.
Yeah, it has, and I think that's why, again, with things like WandaVision stuff, I want to jump in episode 1 before everyone gets that chance to be like, you need to watch it. Yeah, because we lent season 1 of Breaking Bad off you on DVD when you had it, and that was about 4 years after it came out.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh, let's see how good it was, and I was like, no, it wasn't as good as what people said. So it's nice to just start something which people haven't had a chance to try and ruin for you, or relentlessly quote every 2 goddamn seconds of the day before you get a chance to watch it, so you know everything's going to happen in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird. I bought the DVD, and it was before it had really gone huge over here. I can't remember whether anything was showing it. It wasn't on Netflix yet. I'm not even sure Netflix was a particularly big deal yet, but I remember hearing all this amazing stuff from the States, and people had been obviously pirating it over here. So I bought the DVD fairly cheap, thinking, give this a go. This might be my next show, and not getting drawn into it. Like you say, the first series just isn't that great, and everyone, whenever you say that to people, everyone's like, oh yeah, but it gets so much better, and it does get better. It was the first thing I watched when I eventually got Netflix. I was like, right, come on, let's actually give this the proper go then, and I enjoyed it. It had some really good moments, but overall, I don't think I'll ever watch it again. And I've definitely, even though I've been told I'm missing out, I've not gone and watched Better Call Saul or El Camino or anything like that. But
Ash's nan and granddad have my Netflix, and they watched Better Call Saul before they didn't know that it was a prequel to Breaking Bad. So they watched Better Call Saul, and both of them like, you need to watch Better Call Saul. It's amazing. And I was like, yeah, but it's Breaking Bad, and everyone said that about Breaking Bad, and I'm not bothered. And they're like, oh, Breaking Bad. I was like, yeah, watch Breaking Bad. And so they watched all of Breaking Bad and they watched Better Call Saul, and I still haven't got around to doing them yet. But at some point,
one day,
yeah, I think when there's literally nothing else on Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, or any other streaming services we're going to run by then, I might give it a third shot.
I have this bad habit at the moment, though, of not even at the moment, for ages, of watching stuff that I've seen before. And
You're doing it wrong.
Yeah, but partly it's I want something on that it doesn't matter if I miss any of it. You know, I'm doing other stuff at the same time, or I'll just set my tablet up on the side table when I go to bed, and I'll fall asleep to a show, and it's absolutely fine.
I can't do that, and it annoys Ash because Ash loves watching stuff or listening to stuff, but she goes to sleep.
Oh, I have my headphones in,
but if something's on,
yeah,
I'm like, I need to watch this to the end. Like,
I can always feel myself falling asleep, and then so I know I'm about to go, and I'll turn it off. So it's not that bad. But like I've gone through. I've mentioned on this that I went through 24. I went through Lost. I just finished that recently. Started watching Prison Break again, although I'm not sure why. Because while the first season's really good, the next ones just aren't that great. But yeah, I should be watching something new, but I don't want to watch something new that I've got to give my absolute undivided attention to. So I don't know. It's tricky.
Unless when MODOK comes out.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, I'm curious. In fact, that'll go on to Disney Plus, Stars Plus, won't it?
Yes.
So MODOK. They announced there was 2 or 3 animated Marvel shows, and one of them was Howard the Duck, one which Kevin Smith was doing. One of them was MODOK, and there's another one which I can't remember. No, I can't remember what it was. I might have a Google, but the Howard the Duck one unfortunately has been cancelled.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with it. Whether it was just Kevin Smith didn't have any time for it or what, because he's pretty much going all in on He-Man, isn't he?
Yeah, but it's either the fact that like one of the best things that people loved in Easter eggs, and like everyone was so besotted by the fact that they did the little mini cameos and stuff in the MCU, was bringing Howard the Duck back. So when everyone gets so excited about it, and like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, and I'm like, actually, nah, scrap it. And I don't know why. I genuinely don't know why, because it would have been awesome.
Absolutely. It's but the one that has sort of gone right through is MODOK. And the interesting thing, I had no idea. I'd not really read anything about it, but it's essentially it's like Robot Chicken style. It's similar sort of animation. I don't think it is the Robot Chicken people. I think it's just the look of it. But they've released a teaser for it. It's coming to Hulu in a couple of months. But it looks very interesting. I'd like to see a bit more of it. But I like the sort of the more adult animated comic book shows, like the Harley Quinn show is really good. I don't know whether did you ever watch that? No, really good, well worth watching. I mean, really short episodes, so you can watch a couple and get a good feel for it and decide whether you want to continue with it, but it's decent. But yeah, this looks quite interesting. It's one of those characters that not a lot of people know about, but I think I think that's why Howard the Duck would have worked so well. But never mind.
Yeah, 100%. Because he is awesome, and his new run's been great as well. To be fair, yeah. So I can't understand why it hasn't been. The other show, Dan, was Tigra and Dazzler.
Oh right, okay.
That was the one that got cancelled. They were all 3 were announced at the same time, and only MODOK was going. But beside that, you've got Hit Monkey. Never heard of. And the live action show Hellstrom, which is actually out. Oh yeah,
so that's on now. Yeah, that's right.
I think that's going to be our other one now as well.
Yeah, that looks interesting. That's in my queue, ready to go.
It's all about the serial killer and stuff, isn't it? Which looks pretty cool. So
I know nothing of the comic, but yeah, I watched the trailer for the show and it looks interesting. There's another animated comic book show starting soon, which is Invincible, which it's a Robert Kirkman's other series that he had running alongside Walking Dead was Invincible. And I got when I was going through a sort of a phase years and years ago of reading a lot of physical comics. I would buy a couple of graphic novels every month, every time I got paid. And a lot of times I would just buy stuff that I never read before, and I just was interested in seeing something. And that was one of them that I got because I started getting into Walking Dead. I never got past the first issue, but not for any reason other than I think there was other stuff that I was reading. But it was really interesting, and stuff I've heard. The direction story goes, it sounds like an animated version is going to be great. There've been talks of doing TV shows and stuff of it for ages, but it just doesn't feel like it would work. And an animated version is ideal. And I think it's the same for a few comic book series. I don't know whether you've ever read Saga, which is Brian K. Vaughan, who did Why the Last Man. And it's so good, so very, very, very good. Frustratingly, it's on hiatus. Hiatus that was supposed to have ended about a year and a half ago. He said, look, there's going to be, I think it's, I can't remember whether it's 48. I think it was 48 issues. I think there's going to be 96 total. 48 takes you up to the halfway point, and he went, right, here's where we're pausing. We'll be back in about a year or a year and a half, 2 years. We're gonna get a load of stuff written. We're gonna get a load drawn, so we can just get into it and not break. And yeah, we're well over that now. I think we're about 2 years past when they said the next issue was supposed to come out. But it was the biggest selling create your own, so independent comic of all time when it came out, and it was still selling really, 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 really well by the end of the first run. So I don't understand why they've not picked it up again. I mean, I get stuff like Morning Glories, unfortunately, while it's my favourite, well, one of, if not my favourite series, that's just never going to come back. That they finished season 2 and it just went on break and it's never coming back. And it's very frustrating because it ends on such a horrible cliffhanger, which so did Saga. But at least with Saga, I know it's coming back, so you will find out what happened next. But anyway, the point is that would fit a cartoon so well. And they said we're not going to do that unless the whole series is wrapped up. So it will be a while if or when that happens. But that's so good. And also, we don't get to talk about comics much on here, but a current running series that is well worth having a look into is called Something Is Killing the Children, and it's about these sort of monster hunters that basically just eat kids, and this town has got these monsters that only certain people can see as well. Most people can't see them, so they just see these invisible things ripping children apart and then eating them. It's really dark, really good. Well, I can't stress how well worth reading that is.
I might have to give that one a go.
Absolutely. I've got a few digitally, so I'll send you a link.
Oh yeah, awesome. If you don't mind.
Just a library link so you can see. But anyway, yeah, I meant to talk about that for a long time, but we'd never got around to talking about comics. So there we go, finally, with that.
At least we can finally knock off the K from our little list. Oh wait, no. Exactly. And while we are talking about things that are adaptations of this stuff, we haven't talked about this yet either, which is surprising considering it's supposed to be like one of the next big things. But the Borderlands movie,
yeah, it's interesting.
Keep on adding loads and loads and loads of really good,
big names
people.
Yeah,
this. So they've already announced that Cate Blanchett is in it.
Yeah,
Kevin Hart is in it. Jamie Lee Curtis and Jack Black. It's Eli Roth that's actually doing the film, and he's just announced that the lady or the little girl, who played young Gamora in Infinity War,
right,
is playing Tiny Tina.
Okay.
Now, I think someone like Tina Fey or Tara Strong would have been great for Tiny Tina because their voice acting capability and just their sheer craziness would be great for her. I obviously don't know much about this young actress, apart from the fact she played the young Gamora in Infinity War.
Wait,
I
so
can't say-
they've cast like a 12-year-old girl, and you're saying they should have cast Tina Fey or Tara Strong?
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
interesting.
Because Tiny Tina is quite young, but I don't think the parents will be happy with the language and the reasoning, the story behind this.
It's Hollywood.
This
they're happy for them to do anything if it gets them a job, I'm sure. This is live action though, right? This isn't voiceover.
This is live acting, but
Yeah.
I'd say the characters that I think that they could pull off, I think would do a better job than what potentially this young kid might be able to. I might be completely wrong.
Okay.
She might be absolutely perfect for it, but I just think it's a little bit, I don't know.
I mean, the casting overall seems quite odd because they're casting quite a lot of older actors and actresses when the actual characters in the game are generally much younger, right? Like I think I've read something that Cate Blanchett is like double the age of the character she's playing. In fact, it was Jamie Lee Curtis. I think she's in her 20s, the character, and she's much older, which, I mean, they must have a direction they're going with it, which is maybe these are older versions of the characters or something. I don't know. I don't know enough about Borderlands to comment, really.
It's going to be interesting, because the games are good. They're completely overhyped, massively overhyped. They're nowhere near as good as what people make out, but they are fun. It's just a comedy looter shooter with like the villain is a great villain. Like Handsome Jack is awesome, but if you're going to play any Borderlands games, 100% play Tales from the Borderlands, because Tales from the Borderlands is incredible. It's nothing like the other Borderlands games, but the story is typically Borderlands, and it is genuinely such a fun game to play through. I'm sure, have you played it or have you got it and you haven't got round to doing it yet?
I've played a bit of Tales of the Borderlands, and I've got 3, but I've not played it yet.
You need to play all of Tales from Borderlands. It was one of those, like the Tales of series, like, or whatever that they do, they're always great. I mean, The Wolf Among Us is by far one of my favourite games. I absolutely adored The Wolf Among Us, and Tales from Borderlands is by far probably the second greatest game that they do. And the Batman one's really fun as well, to be fair, but all of those are great, and they used to always pop up on PlayStation Plus all the time.
Well, absolutely. I think that's how I've got Tales. In fact, no, I've got a physical copy of Tales, but the Batman first series they did, I have that, and that's another one of those. It's just there's too many things. I mean, we'll segue into PlayStation Plus in a minute once you've finished with this, if you like. But there's so much stuff that I've got through PlayStation Plus that I'm struggling to decide what to play next, and it's only going to get worse.
It is the Steam library equivalent for console owners. Yeah, because there is just so much stuff on there that I'm just like, I'd love to do that. I'd love to play that. I'd love to play that.
They're really, really going for sort of. I think that they're trying to get people to talk about PlayStation Plus over Game Pass without going down the Game Pass route.
Yes,
it feels like, because giving away Control, like definitive edition of Control, which was a bit of an odd one, right? So that was last. What month is it? It's March now.
It's March now.
February's PlayStation Plus was Control Ultimate Edition, which only came out in December. So Control came out like last year, beginning of last year, something like that. The Ultimate Edition had the extra 2 DLCs included in it. They announced that it was going to be coming to PlayStation 5 this year, I think March sometime. But you wouldn't be able to do digital upgrade on the normal version. It was only going to be the complete version, the Ultimate version. So everyone who'd bought the game originally and then bought the DLC separately and then got PS5 subsequently were getting quite annoyed. So there was a little bit of a backlash about that. And then it was on sale just before Christmas on the PlayStation Plus store. I think it was about 15 to 20 quid for the Ultimate Edition. So apparently loads of people bought it. And then about 2 weeks later, they announced that the Ultimate Edition was going to be on PlayStation Plus the next month. So then they had loads of furious people. At least on Reddit, there was a lot of furious people. So yeah, that's been free. I mean, the fact that they're launching games for the PlayStation 5 and just going, here it is for PlayStation Plus. I mean, the first big one they did was when Fall Guys was free. It was just like, right, here it is.
Yeah.
Such a good move, because then suddenly everyone can play it. I mean, I don't know whether it's how well it's stuck around at this point now, but everyone can play it straight away. You know, people would spend money on the microtransactions and stuff if you want to, so they get the money that way. But it also makes people keep PlayStation Plus. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they've done a similar thing with Control now for next month with, or this month rather, with Final Fantasy VII Remake.
This is the one.
It's insane.
That I am so fucking jealous about. So,
did you ever get it?
I literally was about to buy it, and then I had that like, oh my god, I can sell all this to get a PlayStation 5, and then I'll just play on the PlayStation 5, and then sell the PS4 with all the stuff on it. And then the PS5 has just become the most insane thing to get hold of, and then I used the money on Ash's presents. Yeah. So yeah, I never really got my PlayStation 5 to play it, but it was the one game that when it kept coming out, I was like, once Oliver settles down and I can actually get more game time in, it's the first game I'm going to purchase, because I was so excited to try this one out. Now, I know 8 has always been my favourite, but 7 is a great game, and the look of it looks absolutely fucking stunning. The demo we played, you know, I like the way the combat goes. I know a lot of people prefer turn-based like me, but I like Final Fantasy 15, so because I'm used to it now, I'm like, you know what, combat in 7 doesn't bother me as much, because I'm used to it in 15, and now that they've refined it and made it a lot nicer, it's going to be even better to play. So as soon as I seen that announcement, I was like, why don't I have my PlayStation? I'm like, I'm just absolutely devastated now, because now he's settled down a lot more. It gives me more time to play. I could actually get around to playing it. So I'm like, and then it makes it worse, because obviously that you were just saying, they've announced the Intergrade. Yeah. So there's a version of it coming out on the PS5, which is, it's a really genius move, really. They've said, look, okay, here's the game completely for free, and it will play on the PlayStation 5. You'll have that free digital upgrade, but also we're going to release it with DLC, with an entire story mission that you can play, that you are going to want to play. So if you haven't got that, you can buy it. So rather than buying the whole game, people are just then going to buy the DLC, which will probably be about 15 to 20 quid. So it's still going to make them all the money. Yep. So don't know. It seems very a really shrewd move to me. Yeah, 100%. I think it's really clever the way they've done it. And it's for people like, because you haven't played Final Fantasy VII, have you? No, and that's the only thing I was curious. It's when they announced it, and I was like, right, do you know what? I'm going to actually be able to play this. Should I get my Vita out, charge it up, and get stuck into proper Final Fantasy VII? Because it's the same as, remember I was talking about playing Yakuza, and I was like, where do I start? And loads of people online had said, just start with 0, because that's the beginning of the story technically, because it's the prequel. But half the fun of that is probably knowing the characters from 1, 2, 3, 4, and then going back and seeing them, you know, how they've changed, how they came up and all that sort of stuff. So is some of the fun of this game being like, you know, knowing the story and knowing how it all turns out, and all the characters, you know, seeing how they've changed it. Is that half the fun? Is that some of the fun? I know I mean, from the short bit I played, like you say, the demo, I really liked it. I really liked the way that it worked. So I'm absolutely gonna play it, but I just don't know whether to give the OG version a go properly first. Well, that's the thing, because I think I think you know anyway, so it's not really much of a spoiler. Oh, I know somebody dies, so I won't. Oh no, it's not that. What the thing I say is the remake basically isn't technically a remake. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. So I think you're safe, whichever option you want to play it as. I think you're one of those few people that will actually be like, oh, and play through the new one. Because obviously it'd be a lot short for you to get through episode 1 or part 1, so to speak.
It's not that short a game, though, is it? I heard it's a pretty much a full game, and the only reason it's split into 2 is because
30 to 40 hours into this, and it's that, but it only covers part 1 of the story, like Midgar. It covers basically, and now there's been a huge shake-up in part 2.
Which is the point, isn't it? It's like it's like the Star Trek reboot to sort of give it something that is based on something I like. It's not that it's trying to be like, here's a complete remake of it. It is the same story, but then something changes the path of it, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. So
it gives this a new timeline. It's the Kelvin timeline of the Final Fantasy world.
Yeah, and now the main dude, Tetsuya Nomura, who's the director of it all and has been for centuries in Final Fantasy, he's stepped away from the director chair.
For the second part? Okay.
Yeah, despite the fact it's heavily in development, he's gone
16 or
with everything else that we've announced now. Because not only have they said, part 2 is going to be coming soon. We've got this remake, part 1, coming out for the PlayStation 5 with the Yuffy.
Yeah, with the Yuffy expansion.
Which Yuffy is ace as well. So she was one of my favourite things in Final Fantasy 7. So the fact that she's getting a side story, like DLC mode, which is coming in, is just incredible. So again, you will love Yuffie. She's awesome. So being able to take the chance to see her thing all properly fleshed out in this, and then if you do go back after getting a bit of a hook into it and play Final Fantasy 7, you'll buzz off knowing more about Yuffie as well, which I think would be nice.
Then that's a good way around then, I think.
Yeah, Dev, because you're going to spend about 100 hours in Final Fantasy 7. So I think having like a 40-hour... Well, to be fair, you don't have to spend 100 hours in. It's just, I know what you're like in getting the thing. So when it gets to like collecting the golden chocobos and stuff, I know you'll be like, oh, yeah, this is fun. Chocobo Raisins Ace. I want to get all of this. I want to get Knights of the Round. And Knights of the Round is a phenomenal summon, but it takes a fucking long time to get hold of and an even longer time to actually use.
Okay.
Because you could literally start summoning Knights of the Round and then go make a brew and come back and it's just about to finish. That's how long it goes on for. But it is ace.
To start making myself brews.
That's it. Or make yourself in there. I'm Namiyaki or...
yeah, I mean, that's a great alternative. Fancy a coffee. No, do you know what? I'm going to have an okonomiyaki.
But yeah, so this next bit again will be awesome for you. One way, it's massively divided the fans at points. So they've announced they're basically doing, in effect, the world of Final Fantasy VII. It's basically going to be the Square Enix MCU. But just the Final Fantasy VII CU.
Right. Well, that's what they've announced now is the sort of the direction of it. It's almost spinning off.
It's spanning its whole thing. Because obviously you've already had like Advent Children come out for it, Crisis Core come out for it, Dirge of Cerberus.
I was going to say
before Crisis, which only came out in Japan, never made its way over here. So you've had like a few bits and pieces all come out, but what they're doing is he's redoing it all again, and it's called Ever Crisis, and it's basically, it looks as though it's turn-based. It's a single player chapter orientated game that's coming out.
Okay.
Graphically it looks a little bit nicer than Final Fantasy VII, but that sort of aesthetic, which is coming through. However, when it hits the combat, it then looks as though it's coming into the Final Fantasy VII remake style of it. Like graphically, it looks stunning. So again, it's just similar to the way Final Fantasy VII did it. Final Fantasy VII looked like a Lego character when you were dragging around the map. And then when it went into combat, they looked like proper dudes.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe, but they looked like actual people instead of Lego people. So in this now, the dragging around in a nicey sort of Lego-y sort of way. and then when it hits the combat, it literally turns into Final Fantasy VII Remake style graphics. It's phenomenal the way they've done it, because it's coming out on mobile at the moment. It's only iOS and Android.
Yeah, I've got this up here now. It's weird.
Which, it looks weird, but what they're doing for it is it's got all of the games and Advent Children and stuff.
You're going to be able to play Advent Children.
Yes, so you choose what chapters and make your own Final Fantasy VII story the way you want to do it as. Okay. So if there's bits like Dirge of Cerberus, which everyone was like, it's one of the worst shooters in the PS2 history of games, you don't have to touch it if you don't want to touch it. We've done our spin on it, and this is how we're going to play it now. But if you just want to know what the story's like and you didn't have a PS2 at the time, you can now play Dirge of Cerberus and know what the story's like in it, go through chapter by chapter. The interesting thing is it's turn-based. So for all those people that were like, I wanted a Final Fantasy VII remake, but I want it turn-based, I want it the way it should be. Well, you've got this now.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Admittedly, it's only on Android and iOS, but the Pocket Edition of Final Fantasy 15 also came out on the Switch.
Yeah,
Complete edition.
If there's a mobile game that any big studio's doing, it will come out on the Switch.
So
100%.
I'm so glad Ash has a Switch, because when this comes out, that's what I reckon will be playing.
I can see it.
I love the whole prospect of it and the idea of it, and I know it's going to be probably episodic and stuff, but I'm genuinely stoked. I think that's going to be really awesome.
With someone like yourself, though, that I would have thought that actually fits your life now.
Yeah,
to have an overwhelming 100-hour game sat in front of you, or have a 10-part, 10-hour per episode game. That's sort of fits in a little bit better, I'd have thought.
Exactly, yeah. So if it did come out on the Switch and stuff, awesome. I mean, I still, since we talked about Cyberpunk about 4 weeks ago, I haven't booted up that laptop since then.
Oh, fair enough.
So it's I haven't had a chance to do it, because we've been watching stuff and whatnot. But now we start watching Stranger Things, because I'm 3 seasons into it. I'll play on games on my phone while watching it, or watch, I've been playing Knights of the Old Republic on my phone while we've been watching Stranger Things. So the fact I could play the Final Fantasy VII games while watching stuff that Ash wants to watch, I'm well up for that. I think it's going to be awesome. But the one I'm not interested in is First Soldier. I don't know why Square Enix. Well, I know why, because it's money. But I don't know why they've gone what the fans of Final Fantasy VII really, really want. Right, we know they want the remake, so we've started doing them a remake. We know they want it turn-based stuff, so they've got Ever Crisis. What's the one thing that everyone's been petitioning for? Oh yeah, that's right. How about we do a Battle Royale spin-off? And we do it with none of the characters from Final Fantasy VII in it.
I'd not even heard about this.
Yeah, so they announced this after the State of Play. Yeah. Literally, straight after it, they put up a tweet going, oh yeah, we forgot to say, boom, have this. And they released a trailer, and it genuinely just looks as though they've gone right, okay, so Fortnite everyone loves, so why don't we just use the aesthetics of Fortnite and just put in our summons into it so people can use magic.
Yeah, that's the thing about Fortnite. It's not based on franchises, is it? I know you can get
now it is.
But I mean, it's not like this is a game that Final Fantasy fans might want to play, but a game like this needs millions of people worldwide to want to be playing it for it to be a success. So stuff like Fortnite, and PUBG, when that was the big thing at the time. It's got no starting point for people. If you like this, you're going to like this.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I don't think there's enough.
What's going to happen is, because it's a free one to play on the mobiles.
Yeah.
All it's going to be is all the Twitch streamers, all the YouTube streamers cosplaying as Aerith or Tifa.
Fair enough.
And playing it.
Yeah.
It's going to get hits, and people go, "Oh, that'll be fun."
Maybe.
I'm going to jump on that.
I just can't see why people would play it if you're not a Final Fantasy fan over something like Fortnite.
Yeah, I think it's because it's the unique mechanics of having the magic and the summons come into it.
Okay.
I completely agree. Final Fantasy fans,
they should have just done
the ones that are going to massively get into it.
They should have done it like like the beat 'em up.
There, guys.
Yeah. What was the one that they did?
Dissidia. Sorry.
Yeah, like that, which is just, it spans all the Final Fantasies. You could just, it was like, I don't know, some sort of battle royale, just spanning the whole saga with all the different characters. And that might have been a little bit more intriguing. I don't know, this seems like, to nail it down to be like, this is specifically Final Fantasy VII, seems a little bit odd. Don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one, and it's also the fact that, again, it's only coming out on iOS and Android.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the mobile market is a huge market, but battle royales, as someone who's tried Fortnite and PUBG on mobile, it's nowhere near as much fun as what they are on the actual consoles. And that's a game that could easily just be out on the. It seems it's going to be free on the iOS and Android. It could be free on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah.
Or, Game Pass, whatever, and just literally put it on there, and you'll get a load more people playing it. Like, most people aren't asked about mobile games anymore. It's only people like me that are like, you know what, I've got time for that, so I'll do that. It takes 5 minutes to have a game. I'll see what it's like. Like, that sort of stuff. It's fine, but I just can't see it being successful in the long haul if they're just going to keep putting all these games on mobile.
No. And no, I think that marketplace is too crowded as well. Seems like a bad idea, and
because it's not going to be coming out until, like, I think 2022.
Yeah,
is when it's coming out as well. Like,
is Battle Royale still going to be a big deal? I can't believe the new version of the Call of Duty Battle Royale Warzone, isn't it? Is too big to fit on a normal PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So your 500 gig, which means you've got like 430 or something like that. It's not that you can't have other games. It will not fit on it.
No.
And
they keep adding more stuff to it, like the zombies and stuff now. So
absolutely.
It's
crazy.
Bigger. So it's ridiculous. Like,
they
really just want you to only play that game and nothing else.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, in an effort to sort of get us through a couple of quick things and wrap up, because we're past an hour now. Time flies, eh? I've been playing Control, and I mentioned to you the other day, this is just me and Reg having a conversation generally, that you said, you were really intrigued to play it, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. I'm on like the tipping point. I get it with some games where I'm like Horizon. I got a good few hours into that. It started to, I don't know, I started to lose interest in it, and I haven't gone back to it since. And I think I'm a fair way through, but I don't know whether I'm going to continue. But Control was getting to that point. I was like, right, this is a very weird, trippy game. It's like a cross between, I don't know, it's sort of got all the mystery of Lost. So I was like, right, yeah, I'm going to enjoy this. But then the sort of, I don't know, the gameplay, some of the gameplay mechanics of like Half-Life or Portal. So on paper, sounds right up my alley. But after playing it for a little bit, I was just like, I don't know, it's just, I can't see this really getting any more interesting. It's just all a bit samey because you're running around the Federal Bureau of Control. So you're in this big office building, and that's just where the entire game seems to be set. But fortunately, as you're getting through, different sections open up, and you've got like a sort of a power plant section and security and whatnot. And I am now fully 100% just dragged into it, and it's brilliant. Really enjoying it. Really, really enjoying it. It's very hard.
Sound.
And you know what? It's a Remedy. So, I mean, they've made some amazing stuff, like all the Max Payne games, for example. They clearly know what they're doing. Every now and again, you'll see a game that just oozes quality, like God of War. When I played that, I was just like, this is just amazing. Like, there's nothing about this game that doesn't show you that this studio knows exactly what they're doing. This feels the same as that. Things like there aren't difficulty levels. You can't pick an easy difficulty level. But what you can do is, completely fine tune and reduce the damage from attacks, or your shield strength, or the rate that your gun reloads, things like that. So if you're finding it a little bit too hard, you can just all right, let me just like tweak this a little bit. And when you go to do it, when you go to turn on these functions, it does say, look, we've designed this game with what we think is a good challenge, but a really, really satisfying, fulfilling game. So don't turn this on unless you think you absolutely have to. Please try it without it first. And if you can't do it, then fair enough. It literally asks you 3 times, are you sure? Do you want to turn it on now? All right, fine, we'll turn it on. So it's they have, it's clear that they know what they're doing, a studio like this, and it looks beautiful as well. Really good voice acting, everything. So I'm really into it. I'm not sure how big it is, but I'm really enjoying it.
Did you ever play Alan Wake?
No, never got round to it.
Okay, because this edition
another one of those,
ties into Alan Wake.
Oh, does it?
They're set in the same universe, apparently.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, it's one again, another one, because Mike got the complete edition when it first came out, and was going on like, Reg, you have to play it, and I was like, I will, and he was like, I'll borrow it you, and I was like, when I get my PlayStation 4 back from people, I'll take you up on that because I'm fucking dying to play it. Yeah. And then obviously got rid of it, and I was like, damn it, it's out on PC, and my PC laptop's good enough to handle it. So it's one of those that at some point I probably will grab it, because I think I'm going to be sticking to the laptop for a while.
Fair enough.
Like a long while.
Oh, yeah, well, it's on Steam now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly, and it's Steam and Epic, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So I'm not one of those that's...
Oh, yeah, give it a bit of time, wait for it to be the free game on Epic still.
Yeah. And so I'm really not bothered about how many things I have.
How much longer did you have left on your PlayStation Plus? I suppose you didn't renew it, did you? Because you were just getting free.
Yeah, no, that's it. I was genuinely just getting
fair enough
games continuously, so I never bothered with it.
Never mind. Right, the very last thing, just to wrap it up then, it's kind of a one more thing. So there's a man who's been arrested for sending 37 death threats to Square Enix because he couldn't win at one of their games.
What?
So let me see. Apparently, 37 death threats, such as "I will seriously kill you, cheating developers," to the point where they actually had to call off a live broadcast that they were going to hold on the 20th of November because of the death threats. So 39-year-old Toshiyuki Suga from Matsubishi Town in Saitama Prefecture in Japan. He said, apparently, to the police, "I couldn't win and was feeling frustrated and got emotional." And while they've not actually said what game it was that he was apparently not winning at, people have worked it out, and it seems to be a Dragon's Quest RPG called Dragon's Quest of the Stars, which is a play to win type thing, smartphone game. And he spent $1,876 equivalent on this game, trying to get a specific prize from one of the loot boxes.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
that's insane.
Apparently, in one of the threats, he said to Square Enix employees that they need to wash their necks, which apparently translates technically to prepare to die, stemming back to samurai days. You wash your neck so you can have your head cut off.
Oh wow!
Oh dear!
Oh wow! That's insane. That's really insane. Also, so I've just been on Epic to see what the free game was and purchase it.
Okay.
Apparently this is years old. How did I never know that fucking Unreal Tournament is now free to play as well? The brand new one. This is no version.
Yeah, they have all the free stuff.
Featuring new content and returning classics. There's a lot of work to be done, but you're able to participate today and earn in-game rewards only to pre-alpha participants. Come back and check out the progress. Oh my god! Fucking, your boy Reggie's getting on that. I used to love me some Unreal Tournament. The Unreal Tournament was the first game I ever modded.
Wow!
And I say I modded. I did. It was the first game that I ever got stuff online. And used character skins and model skins that was coming through. I absolutely fucking loved the original Unreal Tournament. It was one of the, if not still in my top 5 favorite games. Yeah. It's just phenomenal.
Did you ever play? I'm on this page as well, just looking at what's free at the moment. Did you ever play? Was it Smite that they did? Was it a Turtles pack?
Yes. Yeah. So I never got around to doing the Turtles part of it.
No.
Frustratingly, because
has it been and gone, or is it all still there?
I think it's got about 2 weeks left of it because it was a battle pass. So you could play them all, get them all to play in the battle pass time. But they would only stick around if you either bought them or won them through the battle pass.
Right.
Okay. So obviously I'm not going to, because of the sheer effort it takes to win games and stuff. But Smite was a game I was obsessed with for ages.
I remember it was on the place. It was a free to play one on the PlayStation, wasn't it?
Yeah. So when we went on our when we went on holiday to America, when we all went, Dave basically logged in every day so I could still get my credits.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
On it, because at the time my remote wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Play at the time wouldn't work, so he literally logged in my account every day so I could still get my free credits, so I could buy the skin for one of the characters in it who turned into a K-pop chick.
Fair enough.
It's awesome, but the game itself is brilliant. Again, it's one of those that if I still had people who played it, I would happily jump back on it again. So I had loads of fun on that, loads of fun. So yeah, if you're up for getting it, I'll more than happily play with you, and we can play it.
No time, Reg. I've got episodes of Prison Break to watch.
No time to play. Wow, what? But you could play this while you watch Prison Break.
True, very true.
Because we spend most of our time dying in it, and you've got to wait 3 minutes or whatever to.
It's one of those. Is it?
It's one of those that when you die, you wait 10 seconds the first time, then 30 seconds, and then by the time it's ended, you're waiting 10 minutes, so you can just go and have a brew and a coffee and make yourself a butty and
make myself a okonomiyaki.
Make yourself a okonomiyaki.
Yep. Sounds good. Yeah. Right. Speaking of which, I'm hungry.
Fair enough. You have to make an okonomiyaki.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, if only there was a video that would show us exactly how to make one.
Yeah, if only.
Head to youtube.com/nerdod.
Oh, R1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Anywho, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, never a chore. Although, before we do go, can I just say RIP to Japan Studio?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd heard.
That's upsetting. That is genuinely upsetting to me. But, yeah, we'll leave it at that, so I don't cry.
Fair enough.
But, yeah, thank you, everybody, for listening. For hanging around, and for all you people that aren't UK-wide, an even more special thank you.
No, don't
single them
above. No, exactly. Everyone is equal.
Everyone is awesome.
Exactly.
And they are. I like you all.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.
Toodles.
Bye.
Oh, in fact, is next week our 50th?
No.
All right, bye.
Bye.